I mean,
You are watching the World 24/7 on the NDTV network. I'm Parmeshwar Baba. We've got an action-packed bulletin lined up for you. Let's begin with the top headlines we're tracking currently. New high-resolution satellite images accessed by NDTV show extensive damage to the Murid air base of Pakistan. The first image shows a massive crater at the air base after strikes. Amid reports of China fast-tracking its plan to deliver stealth fighter jets to Pakistan to bolster its arsenal to counter India's air superiority over its western neighbour, New Delhi has also approved a framework to make its own stealth aircraft. The White House moved to cancel remaining federal contracts to Harvard University amid an escalating battle with American universities. Harvard has already sued the Trump administration over halted funding and a ban on enrolling international students. The COVID vaccine will no longer be recommended for healthy children or healthy pregnant women. This is what US Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. has said. The decision was a significant departure from the government's previous approach of recommending annual shots for everyone 6 months and older. Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, banned child marriage, offering hope that the practice could eventually be outlawed across the country. The bill faced fierce opposition in Parliament, with some religious leaders criticizing it. It's a bittersweet ending for Starship's 9th test flight, where the spacecraft made it through more milestones on this outing than it had so far this year. But issues cropped up in orbit that prevented several key tech demonstrations. ASEAN, the regional association of Southeast Asian nations, held a three-way summit with China and 6 Gulf countries in efforts to expand economic engagement and bolster resilience as they grapple with a volatile global trading system due to US tariff hikes. Our big focus: new high-resolution satellite images accessed by NDTV show extensive damage to the Murid air base of Pakistan, showing actually a huge crater just 30 meters from an underground facility of the Pakistan Air Force, and also damage to the rooftop of a structure adjacent to unmanned aerial vehicle hangars. Now, experts say the strike is visible at the most guarded complex within Murid Air Base, and the approximately 3-metre-wide munition impact crater is just 30 meters north of one of the 2 entrances to a likely underground facility. Now, the second image you see shows structural damage to what is believed to be a command and control node near the UAV complex of the airbase. A portion of the roof has collapsed inward, and the strike could have also caused damage within the upper floors of the building as well. My colleague Vishnu Shobh brings you all the details.
The new satellite imagery that you can see on your screen now has come in from Maxar, which shows very precision hits on the Murid Air Force Base in Pakistan on the 10th of May, right in the middle of Op Sindoor. What we can now share is that there is a crater which has been formed as the result of the impact point of presumably a missile, which is just about less than 50 meters from the likely entrance of underground storage facilities of the Pakistan Armed Forces. There is another image which is also there of the Murid Air Force Base, which shows the roof of a building which has been damaged substantially. It's believed to be a building with command and control facilities and is located likely right next to a couple of UAV hangars. So all in all, the new images which we now have go a long way to prove the accuracy of the strikes of the Indian Air Force and the depth of the penetration which has taken place during the military skirmishes between India and Pakistan.
Meanwhile, amid reports of China fast-tracking its plan to deliver stealth fighter jets to Pakistan to bolster its arsenal to counter India's air superiority over its western neighbour, New Delhi has also approved a framework to make its own stealth aircraft. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has approved a project to build India's most advanced fighter jet, the country's first stealth aircraft. Now, the fighter jet will be a twin-engine, fifth-generation military aircraft, and the program will be executed by the state-run Aeronautical Development Agency. It's over to my colleague Vishnu Shom for the finer details.
India's decision to speed up the process of public-private partnership in the development of the AMCA, or the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is an Indian stealth aircraft, is absolutely critical and comes at a time when Pakistan is in the process of acquiring an aircraft called the J-35, which is a Chinese stealth aircraft. Pakistan would be the first export customer of this particular aircraft, which is at an advanced stage of development, and manufacturing may in fact have started. The implications of this for the Indian Air Force are great. It means that the IAF may be without a stealth platform, which is considered a fifth generation aircraft, for several years, while Pakistan acquires and operationalizes a stealth platform. In the event of future air wars between India and Pakistan, the Indian Air Force would find itself at a distinct disadvantage. Therefore, a public-private partnership, which is seen to be very much the future of the way India should be developing weapons, is perhaps a step forward. Why? Because several private players in India now have demonstrated the ability for quality manufacture. The speed of manufacture is also important, so that ultimately, once the AMCA is developed, the speed at which the numbers of jets required for the Indian Air Force are built, manufactured, and then delivered to the Indian Air Force can be speeded up, is something which we need to focus on as a country. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
In other news, SpaceX launched Starship on its 9th test flight, a crucial test mission after two previous failures. The flight started smoothly, but Starship encountered some issues in orbit. The first stage Super Heavy booster exploded shortly before its expected splashdown, and fuel leaks on the upper stage vehicle caused it to spin uncontrollably before its planned re-entry through Earth's atmosphere. SpaceX confirmed that Starship broke apart during re-entry. At the time, the vehicle was on track to splash down in the Indian Ocean. But Elon Musk, the SpaceX CEO, is expected to give a presentation from Texas about the road to making life multiplanetary. Let's turn our attention to the other crucial story we're tracking. Well, according to reports, the White House moved to cancel remaining federal contracts to Harvard University amid an escalating battle with American universities. Harvard, as we have been covering, has already sued the Trump administration over halted funding and also a ban on enrolling international students. But as experts highlight, by targeting institutions, cancelling grants, and firing government researchers, Trump is impairing the ability to solve problems, prevent disease, design policy, inform the public, and also make tech advancements. We have some reactions lined up for you from Harvard University. Listen in.
The attack on Harvard and its international students is part of a deeper effort to defund and dismantle the academic world.
Trump has begun a dangerous march to roll back civil rights in this country. If there is anything to learn from this Jewish history, it's that when we push people out of our schools because of their identity, it's a symptom of a morally bankrupt politics.
But Donald Trump is attacking these freedoms because they get in the way of his authoritarian takeover. This is what authoritarians do.
And for further clarity, we have with us Daniel Block at the moment. Daniel, as always, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV. By framing Harvard as a bastion of Marxist maniacs and liberal bias, would you argue that the Trump administration is now using the global visibility of elite academia to actually signal a new ideological litmus test for US institutions?
Thanks as always for having me. Yeah, I think what's clearly happening here is it's an ideological battle between Trump and those who oppose him. And, you know, anybody who knows Harvard in and out knows that Harvard is hardly a Marxist far left institution. I mean, this is one of the richest organizations in the world. It's an organization that has produced any number of billionaire capitalists. I mean, it doesn't even pass the smell test. What it really is a front for attacking anybody who doesn't agree with Trump's particular ideology. That's the ideological role and war that's going on here. I mean, as I think the last clip you showed said, it's part of the authoritarian project. Trump is trying to strangle off institutions that won't narrowly go along with his line.
Daniel, the administration, though, claims that Harvard fails to align with national values. So from a foreign affairs standpoint, how does this inward-looking ideology actually affect America's global credibility as a defender of academic freedom and also liberal democratic values?
I'd say there are three things that are going to happen here internationally. The first two related to what you said are poorly. It's obviously quite bad for the United States' reputation as a bastion and defender of academic freedom, because this is an outward attack on academic freedom, very plainly so. It also suggests, again, to what I was saying before, that the administration has a narrow ideological line it wants its universities to adhere to. And then I think more broadly than that, as many people know, one of the absolute pillars of American power in the world is its university system. The fact that the United States has an elite university system that people from all over the world want to come and study at. It helps bring talent into the United States. Plenty of people stay. They go on to be founders of some of the United States' most prestigious and successful companies. They go on to contribute in many other ways to US power and prestige around the world. And when you're doing things like cutting off Harvard's money, or even more extremely, barring international students from studying there, you're telling people that the United States is inward looking, that we don't want outside talent, that we don't want the country to be a bigger and more accepting place. And that's just going to do horrible things to US power and prestige. I mean, think about all the future possible founders who might wind up becoming American citizens or founding American companies, who will now go study somewhere else, whether that's in Europe or, as the United States really wouldn't want it to be, in China.
In fact, Hong Kong is also opening its doors for the international students. And speaking of international students, Harvard's president has called the curbs on international student enrollment devastating, as you are also highlighting. But Daniel, from a diplomatic standpoint, does this not then send a contradictory message to countries that invest heavily in sending students to the US, as you are pointing out?
I think it does. It sends a message that the United States is now less open and less welcome to international students than it was before. And look, you can say it's just one university, it's just Harvard, but they're picking arguably the most famous and prominent university in the United States. So there's no way that's not going to send a chilling message. And I think that that also is bad for American power in its own way, right? It's a form of American soft power, of American outreach. As you were saying, diplomacy, it's really a key word here. The United States can reach out not just to other countries' governments, but to other countries' societies by saying, look, we want you here. We want to give you an opportunity to study with us, to come into the country, have that be a pathway for you. And you're shutting that door out. You're shutting that diplomatic messaging down.
Well, as we wrap, Daniel, by tying civil rights rhetoric to the justification for defunding Harvard, would you say the administration is actually weaponizing legitimate grievances for political ends?
Well, how legitimate they are is a matter of interpretation, but it certainly is justifying political grievances for political ends, or legitimate grievances, whatever you want to call them. It is weaponizing grievances for political ends. I think that is really certainly what's happening here. You know, how anti-Semitic is Harvard's campus really? From what I understand, the answer is not very. That's not to say that there haven't been instances of anti-Semitism on Harvard's campus or on other campuses around the country. There have been, I'm sure. I've seen reports and evidence of that. But they're really, really marginal at best, particularly at a place like Harvard. And I think, you know, in fact, in doing that, what they're doing is they're cheapening actual instances of anti-Semitism. Because anti-Semitism is a problem in the United States. It's a problem in all sorts of parts of the world. But by using that as a front and a cover to launch this attack on academic freedom, they're cheapening it, and they're making it harder for people to take those accusations seriously.
Right, Daniel, as always, thank you so much for joining us with your views. We will, of course, revert to you for regular updates.
Thank you.
Staying with updates from the United States, I must inform you that the COVID vaccine will no longer be recommended for healthy children or healthy pregnant women. This is what US Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. has said. And the decision, you must note, is a significant departure from the government's previous approach of recommending annual shots for everyone 6 months and older. The announcement by Mr. Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic, has appended the standard process for vaccine recommendations, which are typically made by the CDC and its advisors. In fact, he said there was no clinical data to support additional shots for healthy children, and federal health officials did not offer an explanation for the change regarding pregnant women. But some public health experts criticized this decision, pointing out that the risk of severe diseases and hospitalization among infants was actually compared to that among adults 65 and older. Others, meanwhile, have condemned the decision to stop recommending the shots for pregnant women who are at high risk of severe illness and also complications as far as COVID is concerned. With that, let's turn our attention now to the neighborhood, to Bangladesh specifically, where 3 associate bodies of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, are set to hold a massive rally called the Establishing the Political Rights of the Youth. This rally is going to take place outside the party's central office in Dhaka today. The event, organizers say, could draw as many as 15 lakh participants. For further clarity, let's go across to my colleague Saurabh Gupta, who's been tracking all the finer developments for us. Saurabh, as you've been reporting, 3 BNP wings are now set to hold a massive rally in Dhaka. What can we really expect?
Well, you know, the BNP has been pushing the interim government led by Mohammad Yunus to announce a date for elections, announce a roadmap and announce a clear roadmap instead of dilly-dallying on announcing elections and being wishy-washy on a date. December to June is what the Yunus government says. That's a wide window, and that's, of course, something that many experts will tell you, that it doesn't take so much time to conduct elections. Obviously, his critics, Mohammad Yunus's critics, have accused him of wanting to stay on to power, but the political parties and the army has been pushing for early elections. And Mohammad Yunus's interim government has also faced protests from government workers, bureaucrats, etc. So it is a time of protests in Bangladesh once again, at least that's what it seems so. And this time it's for, elections and to install a democratically elected government in Bangladesh instead of continuing indefinitely with the stopgap arrangement of the interim government, which seems to be wanting to continue for a longer period than perhaps people of Bangladesh had hoped for.
As always, Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us with the lowdown. We will, of course, revert to you for regular updates on Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus has actually left Dhaka for Japan on a 4-day official visit. During this visit, Mr. Yunus's team says that he will attend the 30th Nikkei Forum and hold a bilateral meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba to strengthen cooperation between their two countries. The Foreign Ministry has also added that 7 memorandums of understanding, so 7 MOUs, are expected to be signed covering investment, energy, as well as the tech sectors. Slipping into a very quick commercial break for now. Back in a moment with the latest updates for you. Do stay tuned.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Apte.
2003 is when Munna Bhai MBBS happens to you.
Right.
Dr. Asthana. And then in 2009 is when you become virus. in in Three Idiots, and then you make a directorial venture through Mehta Boys.
Right.
It has been quite a journey.
Yes.
But these two characters were particularly those which are seen as iconic. Would you say that they reshaped your entire, acting career?
You're absolutely right. People identify me with these two characters. I have had a learning curve through a lot of other characters too, but yes, there's no denial that these two, and if I might be allowed to put in one more, was Khosla Khurana. Because, and you're all from Delhi, right? And I was cast for that.
Well, EU countries have formally approved a new 150 billion euro loan program to help rearm in the face of Russia and worries over US reliability, according to the Polish presidency of the bloc. Now, the safe borrowing scheme, backed by the EU central budget, was proposed by Brussels in March as the bloc actually rushes to boost its defences. Switching tracks, King Charles was given a heartfelt standing ovation in Canada's Parliament in Ottawa after a historic speech in support of the country staying strong and free. But what was never mentioned was the speech was actually really about US President Donald Trump. So you see, there was a promise to protect Canadians and their sovereign rights, but with diplomatic discretion, there was no mention of who might be threatening the country's independence. As you know, claims by President Trump that Canada would be the US's 50th state hung over this speech, but his name was never actually uttered. Listen in to King Charles's remarks.
Many Canadians are feeling anxious and worried about the drastically changing world around them. Today, Canada faces another critical moment. Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination, and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear, and ones which the government is determined to protect.
My colleague Maha Siddiqui has been tracking the latest for us. She joins us live from Vancouver at the moment. Maha, as we've just heard, King Charles highlighted that Canada does face another critical moment, citing democracy, pluralism, but Donald Trump wasn't actually explicitly mentioned. Take us through the key highlights.
That's right, Parmeshwar, and it isn't surprising because as per parliamentary norms across the world, leaders of a third country or names of people who are not present in parliament are rarely mentioned unless, of course, it's a clear a threat that they believe requires the name to be taken in parliament. And therefore, perhaps this was in keeping with that norm. However, references were made to the kind of protection that Canada requires at this juncture from forces from outside. And there was a mention of the trade relationship specifically that has been changing. King Charles III referred to the global trade regime that is seeing changes currently, saying that it wasn't ever perfect. However, it was serving a purpose of prosperity for the Canadians for decades. And that has now changed, especially with our closest partners. This was clearly referring to the United States. And then he also referred to the fact that Canada is currently negotiating an economic and security agreement with the United States, but parallelly also looking at having better trade ties with other countries as well. The reference to the constitutions, rather, to freedom, to stability, was all being alluded to the threat coming in from the Trump administration, the 51st threat that has been looming large. So in that context, the speech was clearly important. And the fact that it was being delivered by the monarch in person for the first time in 48 years is a clear indication that it comes because of the threat from down south for Canada.
As always, thank you so much for joining us with the latest information and contextualizing all the details for us. With that, let's turn our attention now to the UK, where police say that 50 people have been treated in hospitals after a car rammed into a crowd of Liverpool football fans celebrating their team's English Premier League championship and 11 actually remain in hospital as we speak. But a 53-year-old car driver was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. As you can see, these dramatic visuals came in from Liverpool. Assistant Chief Constable Jenny Sims has said that currently patients are all stable after this dramatic incident took place during the Victory Parade. Listen in to the reaction we've lined up for you.
Following the incident yesterday, I can confirm on behalf of the National Health Service that we are aware of 50 people who were treated at hospital for ongoing treatment. Of those, 11 remain in hospital for ongoing treatment. They are all in a stable condition, and I am pleased to say that they appear to be recovering well. I want to take the opportunity to pay tribute to the brave members of the emergency services who were on the scene of yesterday's incident within a matter of seconds. Following such a shocking incident, they immediately ran towards an extremely uncertain and potentially dangerous situation in an effort to protect members of the public and fellow emergency responders from harm.
And finally, a nun in Brazil has actually become an unlikely viral star after performing a beatboxing routine during an appearance on a Catholic TV channel. Many on social media actually comparing this performance to the movie Sister Act. We leave you with this.
Rapaz, que é isso? Rapaz, que é isso?
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Apte.
Hello and welcome. We have a very special guest with us here today on the NDTV network for an exclusive interview. It's the second lady of the United States, Miss Usha Vance. Miss Vance, NDTV की दर्शकों की तरफ से आपको नमस्कार. You know, there's a lot of curiosity about what's going on in your kitchen. Everyone is most interested because the Vice President himself has said that he was a meat and potatoes man until he met you, and then your mother taught him how to cook. So now everyone wants to know, what is it that he cooks for you?
Well, he's very experimental. He'll try anything. So he's done everything from chana masala to, has been making a specialty of desserts recently. So our children especially enjoy that.
In your home, what does a traditional Indian meal look like?
Well, my family is from Andhra Pradesh. And so,
they have the most amazing cuisine.
Yes, I think so. Although we've been enjoying the food of other areas as well.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Show. I'm Radhika Apte joining you from Mumbai studios. We also have Divya Vadva joining us from Delhi. Divya, in J&K, Chief Minister Omar Abdullah to hold meetings in Gulmarg in a bid to revive tourism. And also, we've accessed new satellite images of IAF strikes during Operation Sindoor, which shows a damaged Pakistan airbase as well.
That's right, Radhika. Also on the show is the backlash after Kamal Hassan's remark about Kannada being born out of Tamil Nadu, while actor Dino Moria will be questioned yet again in the Methi River cleanup scam, and Elon Musk's mega rocket tumbles for the third time in a row. That and a whole lot more on the Breakfast Show. Let's start with the headlines. India flexes its military muscle. The Army Chief oversees firepower demo drone that was deployed. This is for precision weapon, and this is the latest as far as the Army is concerned, with the Chief overviewing that demo.
New satellite images of IAF strikes shows a damaged Pakistani airbase after India struck them hard during Operation Sindoor.
And let's get you the latest. This is after Pahalgam. Jammu and Kashmir's Chief Minister Omar Abdullah will be in Gulmarg today in order to restore a sense of security and safety among tourists and revive tourism in the valley. He's spoken to NDTV saying that we need to tread with caution and tourism needs to be revived gradually.
Major backlash to Tamil actor Kamal Hassan after his Kannada was born out of Tamil remark. Pro-Kannada protesters threatened stir.
And trouble continues for actor Dino Moria after seeking anticipatory bail. Now he is going to be questioned for the second time. This is going to be the question that's going to be taking place in Mumbai in the 65 crore rupee Methi River cleanup scam.
And Musk's mega rocket fumbles third time in a row. Starship Flight 9 crashes after launch.
And Bengaluru battles a flood situation. How prepared is the IT capital? NDTV gets you a special report.
First up, after Pahalgam, J&K Chief Minister Omar Abdullah will hold a high-level meeting in Gulmarg, Divya, to revive tourism that has been hit after last month's terror attack in Pahalgam. In fact, all the ministers and administrative secretaries of J&K government are attending this meeting, and the message, Divya, is loud and clear that tourist places are safe now and it's time to move forward.
Absolutely, and tread with caution. That is something that Omar Abdullah has gone on to say. Now, over 60 tour operators from various parts of the country have also reached Kashmir in order to revive tourism. Omar Abdullah made it very clear yesterday in a cabinet meeting that enemies of peace will never dictate our resolve, and Jammu and Kashmir stands strong and unafraid. We have Nazir joining us to get us more on this. Nazir, Omar Abdullah plans to reopen 48 tourist spots in a phased-out manner. This is in a bid to woo visitors back. He's going to be in Gulmarg today, a very famous tourist destination all through the year, whether it's to beat the heat in summer or a favorite for people wanting to go skiing in winter. Take us through all that's on the agenda. What all is going to be happening in Gulmarg today?